Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's session for Digital Marketing Strategy. My name is Daryl, and I'm a trainer for the free skills training program, the Google Digital Garage. A little bit about myself before we go ahead and kick off with today's session. I come from a very, very diverse background within sales, recruitment, hospitality, learning and development, and of course, within tech. I love all things digital, and I dedicate the majority of my time to help close the digital skills gap that is so prevalent in our world today. But I'm not here alone. I'm also very fortunate to have Tessa with us here today, also a Google Digital Garage trainer, and she'll be moderating today's chat. If you are viewing us through a desktop or a laptop, there's a very good chance that the chat will be just on the right-hand side, and Tessa will have a little blue spanner next to her name. Now, I'll be jumping more into those housekeeping tips, but first and foremost, we are very, very excited to be delivering this webinar in partnership with Wenta today, and we welcome all the guests that have been invited to join this Google Digital Garage training, and I will now read out a short introduction on behalf of Wenta before we start. So we're leading not-for-profit a social enterprise that has been supporting small businesses for over 37 years. We provide free business service, free skills training, webinars, and workshops, as well as affordable workspace and locations such as Hertfordshire and Enfield. In response to COVID-19, we developed a wide range of new webinars specifically designed to help anybody considering self-employment as an option for them, and for existing small business owners looking to enhance their skills to rebuild grow their business. We've partnered with Google Digital Garage to provide you with this free digital marketing strategy training session. Through our combined partnership, we aim to help small business owners improve their digital presence and grow their businesses online. And I'm pretty sure Tessa will pop the link into the chat for Wenta's website, and hopefully you'll go and explore and see what they have to offer. So big welcome to all of you. Furthermore, with a couple more housekeeping tips, if you have any problems hearing me or seeing me today, please go ahead and refresh your browser. It will usually do the trick. Second of all, if we would love you to all get involved with the chat. In order for you to do so, you would be required to have a YouTube account. It's relatively easy to get set up. Once you're all set up, you'll be able to fire over those questions to myself and Tessa, and we are looking for questions, queries, thoughts, emojis, and I've already seen quite a few hellos within the chat, so please keep that up. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know your favorite color. Let us know anything you feel comfortable with sharing within the chat. Pop it in there. And remember, throughout the whole course of today's session, we welcome any questions or queries. There is no such thing as a silly question. Next up, this particular training is part of a broader offering from the Google Digital Garage. So I usually encourage you to click in the link in the description below. It'll take you to the website and give you a plethora amount of information, online courses, and many, many more live webinars very similar to this one. Lastly, if you would like to have the closed captions for this particular session, you would be able to hover over with your mouse, or you'll be able to tap on the video next to where the play button is on the far right-hand side. There should be a CC button. When you click onto that, you should be able to get the subtitles for today's session, which hopefully will make it a little bit more accessible for you to absorb the information and digest it as we go along. So with that being said, hopefully you've already jumped into the chat. We've got Leon's from Atlas. Hello to you. We got John. Hello to you. We got Marcella. Hello to you. We got Music Circle. Hello. We got Chiron. Hi, everybody. We got Mohammed as well. So please, and I'm loving the emojis, the hellos, keep it flowing throughout the whole course of today's session. And I'm really looking forward to engaging with all of you here today. So with that being said, what are we going to be covering over the next hour or so? So we've broken it down to 3 basic steps. Number 1, we're going to jump into understanding what is digital marketing. What is the benefits? Why are we thinking about? Why are we discussing digital marketing? Then we're going to look at learning about the digital marketing channels. Now we'll be discussing 6 main marketing channels here today. There's lots and many more, and there's probably people creating many more channels in the future, but we're going to focus on the main 6 that's going to hopefully skyrocket your career or potentially your brand, or however you would like to use these channels to really get your business, your charity, or your organization out there. Last but not least, I want you all to get either a pen and pad ready to go, or a separate device that you can start taking down some notes, because we're actually going to go through building up a digital marketing plan. While we go through that digital marketing plan, I highly encourage you to think about your own plan. Think about how you're going to create something that's going to be sustainable, or at least something for you to start off on and start your journey with digital marketing. Tons and tons of more hellos in there. Hello to Francesca, Aaron, Ajit, Francesca, I've said that twice. We got Chris, we got Syed, we got Daryl, Fernandez, we got Dogara, we got Ramya from Singapore. Wow, we have an international audience. We have Aaron also joining in, and she's a beginner in digital marketing. Well, hopefully many of you are a little bit of a beginner and there's something you'd like to grasp a little bit more. So let's maintain that chat, keep it buzzing. I know Tess is going to be on her toes, typing away, answering any questions or any queries that you may have along the way. Just to let you know, this particular live training will be available as a recording for approximately 24 hours. All you'll need to do is click on the same link that you used to join today's session, and you'll be able to rewind and fast forward and really absorb the information at your own pace. So it's really, really good to know. But sometimes these 1 hour sessions can be incredibly overwhelming, and it's like, whew, went straight over my head and I wasn't quite sure what happened. Don't you worry. Google is offering free or one-to-one mentoring sessions to small businesses and charities throughout the UK. So if you are in the UK and you're a small business or charity, please go ahead and take down this link, which is g.co/UK mentoring. Now, I'm proud to be a part of this amazing initiative, along with many other digital experts that are ready and waiting to help you. So please go ahead, take the opportunity to book into these sessions. All I recommend that you do is, if you are successful in getting onto a one-to-one, I highly recommend that you start with some questions. Start the session with some questions so the mentor has some kind of idea on where you would like to go for that hour. With that being said, we're going to jump into the first part of today's session, which is going to be an introduction to digital marketing. Now, some of you may be familiar with digital marketing. Some of you may not be familiar with digital marketing, but I think it's a great way to start off today's session. We've got high engagement in the chat. Let's keep that up. And I'm going to ask you all a question, which would be, what opportunities might you get from being online? Pop it into the chat. Remember, there's no such thing as a silly answer. There's no such thing as a silly question. And there's no such thing as a silly emoji, or maybe there is. But please let myself and Tessa know, what opportunities might you get from being online? Pop it into the chat and hopefully they'll start to trickle in. But think about what you do on a daily basis. Think about what the opportunities may arise. Love that. Katerina, hopefully I pronounced that right. It's a beautiful name. Visibility and leads, 100%. Having that online visibility could lead to people finding more about your business and hopefully getting some people in the door to start buying your products and your services. Daryl is a global reach. Love that. We're going to talk more about that in a second. We've got Salicia, bigger reach. We've got Saeed, networking. We've got Chris, engagement with audiences looking for businesses like yours. We've got Nanda. I'm really bad at pronunciation, so if anybody, please do not take any offense to that. We've got some really beautiful names, but I'm really bad at pronunciations. We've got Tom in customer base. Keep those coming in. We've got find your target audience from Leon's and of Atlas, Music Circle, opportunities to get more customers, Ramya, branding. I think all of you may be a little bit more experienced than I thought. So some of you may be beginners, some may be already on that course, but we're going to jump on to the fact that we live in a mobile world. Let's face it, majority of us have our phone at arm's reach. If we have our phones at arm's reach, we can find so much information at our fingertips. And there's a couple of bold statistics I'd like to bring to your attention. Is in the UK, 80% of people buy online. I fall within that category, and guilty of charge. I shop on a daily, sometimes a weekly basis. 2.5 billion smartphones are used on a daily basis, which is only increasing on as we start to move in the future, as people be more accessible to these smartphones. Then last but not least, across the world, 60% of searches are done on mobile devices. Now, that is a bold statistic. Understanding that if we are all actively on mobile devices, we need to make sure that we are visible and accessible through these devices. So coming back to all of your wonderful answers, finding new target audiences, opportunities, online visibility, being more aware, collaboration. We live in a mobile world, but we also have the reach is on a global scale. And there's a really great tool to help you with this. I'm not sure if you are familiar with it. I'm pretty sure Tessa will pop the link into the chat. It's something called Google Trends. Now, what Google Trends will allow you to do is find out what people are searching for in any given any given country within a time frame. Now, it's not going to tell you how many times somebody searched that term, but it's going to give you an average. And what this is really, really good is to get an understanding of what are people searching for in the United Kingdom? What is people searching for in Singapore, for example? What are people searching for in France? Wherever you are in the world, you'll be able to find out what people are searching for. Now, how cool is that tool? So hopefully after today's session, you're going to jump into Google Trends and learn more about that. On top of that, when it comes to digital marketing, we have the ability to learn more about our customers. Before, in the good old age, before there was internet, before there was computers, what do we used to do? We used to talk to our customers. We used to ask them, what was your experience like? What do you like? What don't you like? But now that we are in a digital world, we have the ability to dive into the insights, whether it be something called Google Analytics, which is something you can connect with your website to understand what are people doing on your website. Alternatively, if you're going to be using social media as a part of your strategy, you can dive into the insights. And those insights will allow you to learn more about who is your audience? Are they more male? Are they more female? What is their age? What is their interests? And once you understand more about your customers, essentially they have all the answers. And I'll be talking more about that in a second. Again, the snapshot in terms of understanding digital marketing is that we have the ability to communicate and support better. There is something I'd like to highlight that not a lot of us do, but I see it quite a bit, is on the screen that you see the screen that you see right now, there is a message from Scott Allen towards Domino's Pizza. Essentially, all Scott Allen has done, he's asked a particular question on a public forum, which is probably social media, but the Domino's Pizza, doesn't matter how big or how small the company is, took the opportunity to reply to that person publicly. And that is a great way to start connecting with your audiences and connecting with your customers, most importantly. On the other side of that, as much as you would, as a company, a charity, or an organization, can start helping people through social media, through digital marketing, but those customers can actually support you as well by leaving you a review. For example, we have the Body Transformation Personal Training. They've left a 5-star review, they've left a comment. And what that allows you to do is gain credibility and get more trustworthy in terms of people trying to think about which services should I use? Well, should I go with this company? They've got great ratings, they've got great reviews. Or do I go with this company who's got no reviews, or maybe one review and it's not really that good? So really does come from both sides in terms of balancing that out. Is you can really, really help your customers. You can start breaking up that barrier, start creating two-way conversations instantaneously, very similar to what we've done right now. A lot of you are communicating with myself and Tessa through the chat as we speak. So when it comes down to understanding more about digital marketing and the importance, many of us are doing this, but understanding the benefits will allow you to not necessarily take advantage of them, but really take your digital marketing strategy to the next level. So thanks everybody for those contributions. I've seen a couple of questions coming in, which is going to come to the next point of one from Iran. One question, please. Graphic design or digital marketing, which one has a more demand or more scope in the future? That is a wonderful question. And I wouldn't be able to read the future, but given the track of how it's going at the moment, I would say both. So when you're thinking about digital marketing, having some digital graphic design knowledge or some ability to manipulate graphics is going to allow you to create really great ads or really great content that's going to allow you to market your business correctly. So Aaron, to answer your question, I would recommend diving into both of them. Obviously, you can always specialize in digital marketing and know a little bit about graphic design to help you with that. But it also comes down to a lot of different factors in terms of, are you going to be working in a small team? If you're going to be working on a startup and a small team, I highly recommend that you learn a bit of both. However, if you're looking to specialize in a particular role with a larger company, then you can, of course, focus on digital marketing. And I'm pretty sure that large company will have a department that will do all the graphic design for you. Then you can go ahead and focus on your marketing efforts. So with my particular background, I like to learn more about graphic design, and I like to learn more about digital marketing. I like to learn more about IT. I like to learn more about user experience design. I like to learn more about web development. So in my personal opinion, is always going to be gaining more skills is always going to be beneficial to you, especially if it's going to be a digital skill? Fantastic question. Keep them coming in. I know Tess is going to be answering any questions as we go along, but please keep it engaged. We've got lots and lots more time to dive into those questions a little bit later. But the purpose of this very first section of this webinar was to get your heads wrapped around how important it is to have digital marketing in the workplace, whether it's going to be your company, your charity, or your organization. Now that we understand the importance and the benefits of digital marketing, we're actually going to start jumping into the digital marketing channels. Now, there are many, many different digital marketing channels out there. However, we're going to be focusing on 6 main channels. Now, before we get a little bit of a heart attack or we get a little bit overwhelmed by the next slide, don't you worry. It is a lot of information, but we're going to take you through step by step each of those channels and how you're going to approach them. Please keep in mind, we would love to go into detail with all of these and go, this is what you need to do. This is the structure. This is what you should say here. We only have a certain amount of time. So as we start diving into these channels, we're going to show you how to get started. But if you'd like to further this and learn more about it, 2 options. Make sure you click on the link in the description below and keep an eye out on the website for any future live trainings. And of course, there are many, many more online courses, online courses on the website where you can learn more about digital marketing. In particular, there's something called the fundamentals of digital marketing on the website, on the online courses, which I would highly recommend, which will really strengthen your knowledge around digital marketing. So the 6 main channels that we'll be focusing on is something called SEO, an acronym that you may or may not have heard, but very, very popular within the digital realm, stands for search engine optimization. We'll dive into that first and foremost. Then we're going to dive into something called SEM, also known as search engine marketing. Again, there's a big comparison between the two. We'll do that comparison very, very shortly. Then we live in the social media era. So why don't we think about social media as a potential channel? A lot of you may be using it already. Actually, I know all of you are using social media because we're currently live on YouTube at the moment, and YouTube is a social media platform. Next up, you got digital marketing, which is been around for a very, very long time, but how do we think about online advertising? Where do we advertise? How do we advertise? Then we jump into email marketing, which is a very, very good way to start connecting with your customers and building up that loyalty. Email marketing is a great addition to the other marketing channels, which will allow you to strengthen up that connection with your customer. And then last but not least, my very favorite way of really putting myself out there or helping any other company or charity is using content. So content marketing to start adding value and giving you context around what is your business? What makes your business tick? Who's behind your business? What's up and coming? And that content can really shine a light on your business and start allowing people to understand who you are, what you do, and what is your aims. So we'll jump into all of those. I see a couple more questions coming in. Please don't be shy. We love questions. And I know Tess is probably typing away, but hopefully we'll get some more questions as we go along. So 6 main channels. We're going to jump into number 1, which is getting started with search marketing. Before we jump into search marketing, let's go, hey, Daryl, let's just calm down. Let's just take a few steps back. Let's take a breather and think, okay, what are we diving into here? What is search marketing? So I'm going to show something to you that hopefully a lot of us are familiar with, which is something called a SERP, S-E-R-P, an acronym that you may or may not use in the future, which stands for Search Engine Results Page. Now, on this particular page, in order for Google to work, or essentially for any search engine to work, we as customers or we as users will have to enter a search query. Once we enter that search query, Google can then take that word and try to populate the most relevant, up-to-date information so you can get the information that you're looking for. But when we're thinking about marketing, there's first and foremost, just below the search query, there's going to be something called paid text or shopping ads. This is when we bid for keywords in order for it to be at the very top of Google, which is possible. And I'll be talking more about that very, very shortly. But then thirdly, there's something called an organic listing. Now, when it comes to an organic listing, the best way I can bring it across to you is if you have a website or any website that is publicly posted or publicly available to everybody, you will have an organic listing. Now, that organic listing could be on the 100th page, the 500th page, or the 6,000th page. But ideally, when it comes to search engine optimization, we want to bring that organic listing to the very first page. So now that we understand what a search engine results page looks like, something that we probably look at every day, well, I know I do, I'm searching on a daily basis. We understand that structure. Now we want to learn how we can get started with search engine optimization. Now remember, search engine optimization is all about increasing bringing your website higher to be higher ranked on Google on a lot of different factors. Now, when it comes to that, we're going to jump into how do we get started with search engine optimization. First and foremost, what I highly recommend that you do is you sign up to something called Google Search Console. I'm pretty sure Tessa will pop that link into the chat, but what Google Search Console is going to allow you to do is really, I like to think of it as kind of like a baby monitor for your website on the internet. And it's going to allow you to monitor how you are doing on search. It's also going to send you any critical alerts of maybe your website, maybe you should fix this. It's not really working or something is wrong. And it's going to allow you to monitor that. Once you've got set up and you want to get more context, because essentially what this tool is about is giving Google more information about your business and more about your website. So then we can dive into submitting a sitemap. Now, I would love to go into depth with this, but a sitemap in the simplest terms is going to be like a book. You're going to Google and saying, hey, the book is the website, by the way. You're going to Google and you say, here's the book, here's my homepage, here's my about page, here's all my products, and this is how you navigate through my website. If Google understands how to navigate through your website, there's a very good chance that your users will now be able to find your content a lot more efficiently. Then, of course, we always recommend that you share new content and make sure you shout about your website online and offline as much as possible. Help Google and your users understand your content by creating unique, accurate page titles, good titles and snippets, and use header tags to emphasize important texts. Simply, the message we're looking to bring across is make sure you structure your website in a way that is presentable to Google and, of course, to your users. A couple of top tips for success would be run keyword research. I've already mentioned an amazing tool called Google Trends. Remember, Google Trends will allow you to find out what people are searching for in any given country within a certain time frame. It won't tell you how many people searched a term, but it'll give you an average. Next up, we have something called the Google Keyword Planner, which I'm pretty sure Tessa will pop into the chat as well, which will allow you to find out more relevant keywords to your particular business, which is going to allow you to really start building up a tightly themed keyword list. Next up, publish useful, high quality content. Some of that may seem quite obvious, but how do we now produce? You don't need to get a photographer. You don't need to do anything extravagant. We just need to make sure that the videos or the content that you are producing is of high quality. The higher quality will hopefully start to draw more of your customers in. Last but not least, you want to make your web pages search friendly. In order to make your web pages search friendly, there are many ways in which we can do this, but the two driving factors would be the title of your website and the meta description. Those are both important because they are both used by the search engine to generate the actual search result in a specific page. The title is used to generate the first line shown, and the meta description is used to generate the few sentences that follow. So again, coming to that search engine results page, we need to understand that's going to be the very first thing that Google looks at. Now, there's over 200 signals that Google looks for when it looks for finding relevant information. And if you'd like to learn more about that, make sure you click on the link in the description below, and you can find another great live webinar called Get Your Business More Visible on Google. Another fantastic live webinar for an hour that will help you with a little bit more when it comes to being more visible on Google. With that being said, if you've got a website, of course, you want to increase the visibility. However, we need to find other ways on how can we now drive local SEO. So how can we now drive local people to our businesses? So maybe you want to start thinking about business listings, for example. So there's something called Google Business Profile, which I highly recommend that you get set up. It's a tool, a platform that's free to use, and you can get set up in a matter of maybe a day, maybe a couple of hours, especially if you set in a one-to-one mentoring session with myself or many other mentors will help guide you through that process. Then you have something called Bing Places, which essentially is just similar to Google Business Profile, but on another search engine. Then we have TripAdvisor, and then of course we have Yelp. The idea behind these particular platforms is to put your business where customers are already looking. Google Business Profile is going to be a place that's going to be on Google, and I'm searching on a daily basis. And maybe your customers are doing something similar. However, maybe you're in the sector of hospitality, or maybe you have an Airbnb, or you have a bed and breakfast. And maybe you want to start thinking about highlighting your premises on TripAdvisor, which will hopefully start to get some traction from customers that are already looking. I love to go to TripAdvisor. I love to learn more about what's happening, what's the best place to go, what's the best hotel. And if you are a hotel or a bed and breakfast, you would be at a loss if you decided not to put your business on that particular business listing. So when it comes to this business listing, we highly recommend that you show people that you are active. Update your business info. Remember, when you're updating your information online, it's going to be available 24/7. I'll give you a short story on how important it is to update your information when it comes to business listings. Let's say, for example, you create a Google business listing and you say that you're open between 8 and 5, Monday to Friday. And I rock up and I see this on my app, on my phone. Oh, they're open. And I decide to take a walk to that coffee shop. Hypothetically, it was a coffee shop. And it says that you're open, but I got to the shop and it is closed. That is a negative experience or a pain point for many customers, is there is false or misleading information on the internet. So make sure you're updating on a regular basis. Add photos of you and your team. And if you have a pristine location, maybe think about creating a virtual tour that will enhance the customer's journey. They find you online, they go through a virtual tour, then they finally get to your business and they go, wow, I feel like I've already been here before. And this is what Google Business Profile will allow you to do. Next up, always, when I say always, I mean it. Always respond to reviews. Whether they're good or bad, we need to make sure we turn those bad reviews into great brand ambassadors that become happy and spread the news with everybody else. And that's something that Google really, really strives for, is that all businesses, all charities, all organizations reply to those reviews, no matter whether they're good or not. Remember, authenticity and genuine feedback is always appreciated for most people. With that being said, we're going to jump into the comparison between search engine optimization and search engine marketing. SEO and SEM. There are some key differences between the two. So we have search engine optimization is completely free, but remember, it's going to take a while for you to optimize your keywords within your website and all your content. And it's going to take some time to get that ranking. There is no shortcuts when it comes to search engine optimization. So please do not stuff a whole lot of keywords in your website expecting that's going to improve the overall search engine optimization. If you'd like to learn more about how Google search works and how to get more visible on Google, again, I already referenced it, but make sure you click on the link in the description below and wait for the next live training called Get Your Business More Visible on Google. On the other hand, we have something called search engine marketing, which is something where you can pay for your listings. You can bid for keywords and you can get straight to the first page if you bid for that particular keyword. Now, that's the main difference between the two. Obviously, if you're just starting off, I am always helping businesses and charities, and I recommend that you focus on search engine optimization first. Make sure you get a great idea of what your content is. Once you've established those keywords that you're looking for, you can start thinking about bidding for those keywords to drive traffic to your website. Talking about search engine optimization, how are we going to get set up? Now what we're going to do for search engine optimization, we use something called Google Search Console. But for search engine marketing, what we want to do is create a campaign within Google Ads. Now, before I move any further, when I first heard the word campaign, I was like, wow, I have no idea what that is. Do I have to hire somebody to do that? Do I need to organize like a whole lot of things to get it done? The way I like to think about a campaign, by the way, is imagine you sell shoes, and I sell women's shoes and I sell men's shoes. If I was looking to advertise, do I really want to sell women's shoes to everybody, even the men? Maybe. That's not to say that women don't buy men's shoes and vice versa. But if I have women's shoes, I want to create content that is relevant to that particular audience, that's when I think about a campaign. It's more about a thought process of really getting the right information to the right people. So to get started with search engine marketing, you want to log into something called Google Ads, which is very, very simple to use and will continue to be so. And you want to click onto search as a campaign type. Once you click on search as a campaign type, you want to choose the campaign goal. What are you looking to do? Are you looking to get more people to get to your physical location? Are you looking to get more people on the phone? Are you looking to get more people to the actual website? But what is the goal of this particular advert? Then we need to think about aligning keywords with business goals. Using match types and refining any negative keywords. I'm going to put a question out there to everybody is, why do you think that a tightly themed keyword list is so important to a business, charity, or an organization? I'll say that one more time. Why do you think a tightly themed keyword list is so important to a business, charity, or an organization? Remember, there's no such thing as a silly answer. There's no such thing as a wrong answer. Today, all we're looking to do is ideate ideas. There could be something that you pop in the chat today that may resonate with somebody else. So feel free, share your ideas. Why is a keyword list so important to businesses? While you're doing that, I want to jump into the last part, which is writing a compelling ad. Now, this will be something of we'll repeat this with many of the other digital channels, but it's important that we stand up from the rest. We focus on the user's benefits rather than the features. For example, we want a copy that appeals across devices, because these copies of whatever you're creating could be open on a mobile device, it could be open on an iPad, it could be open up on a Chromebook, it could be open on a Google Pixel, could be open on a desktop. We need to make sure that it is visible and clearly visible. Beautiful. A couple of those questions coming in. We've got next but not least is implement all ad extensions. Now, I'm not sure if you've heard about ad extensions, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that when it comes to the top tips for search engine marketing. Number one, optimize your keyword list. It is very, very important that we do so. So far, we've got to save money. We love that. So yes, when it comes to keywords, it is important that we establish a keyword list so we don't waste money on keywords that are not relevant to your business. We got another one, defines exactly what you sell to the pinpoint. Francesca, I love that. Prince, if keyword matches to search, it will be great. 100%. So you guys are on track. When it comes down to the keywords, that is key when it comes to search engine marketing, because we want to understand, what are our customers searching for? What are the keywords that they are using? We don't want to just randomly think, oh, they might use this keyword or they might use this keyword. In the beginning stages, we need to ideate these ideas and think about which keywords will work best. Over time, we start to realize which ones work more or which ones work better, depending on the situation. Again, another one from Ashraf. We don't want to pay for a search not related to your business. Exactly, because you're going to start spending money on keywords that are irrelevant to you, and we're not connecting the right people. So next up, we want to think about boosting with ad extensions. Now, is anybody familiar with ad extensions? If you're not, it's one of the quickest ways to improve your CTR, another acronym that you may or may not use, but it's CTR stands for click-through rate. As by implementing ad extensions onto your ads, these make your ads stand out and will add further context to your overall value proposition. And to be honest, normally land up saving you money in the long run. Last but not least, connect to an analytics account. If you have a website, I highly recommend that you connect that website to Google Analytics so you can start understanding what is the activity on your website and what are people doing, which will help you learn more about your customers, which will hopefully get the answers that you're looking for, and hopefully you refine that keyword list. Talking about keywords, remember I spoke about earlier when I spoke about the Google Search Console for search engine optimization? Google Search Console will show you what keywords people use to find you. Let's say, for example, I'm looking for a shoe shop and I type in shoe shop and then I click onto a shoe shop, and that shoe shop owner, if they look into Google Search Console, they'll go, hey, somebody found your website and they found your website using this particular keyword. So we always continuously need to learn about these keywords. Next up, we got get started with display marketing. Now, responsive display ads use machine learning to create relevant ads that can fit anywhere across the web. But again, I speak a lot, so let's calm down and think, whoa, Daryl, we've done search engine optimization. We've done search engine marketing. Now let's think about what is a display ad. Display ads, the basic way I can explain it is, imagine You are driving down a long road with your family or by yourself, either or. You're running down a long road and you see something in the distance, like a whole lot of different buildings, maybe a town. Now, before you go into that town, there's a massive billboard that says, for example, biggest shopping center in the world. That draws my attention. I'm a lot more aware that if I drive into this town, I'm going to come across the biggest shopping center in the world. Take that same principle when we're thinking about surfing the web or browsing the web, however you wish to explain it. But when we're looking around the web and we find things, it's going to be billboards for your business. There could be banners that are long. There could be banners down the side. There could be text. There could be video. There could be multiple content on which you can now promote your business. So how do we get started with this? Well, we need to jump into creating Google Ads again. We're going to jump into Google Ads, but this time we're going to choose, we are going to log in Google Ads. I'm going to select display as a campaign type. With search engine marketing, we used search. This time we use display, and we're going to select a campaign goal. So what do you want them to do? Then we're going to choose the right targeting, use the display planner to organize where is there something called the Google Display Network. The Google Display Network will help you learn more about where should I put my advert? Where is going to be the best place for me to put it? Because now we're not looking to put it on the website. We're looking to put our advertisement on other people's websites to hopefully drive traffic to your website. We want to make sure we've got the right targeting. We also want to create an ad creative, very similar to the one before. But if I see this display ad, I don't want too much information. I don't want to be overloaded. So write something that's catchy with the right language, clean and simple imagery with a very compelling CTA. Now, CTA stands for call to action. Once you've done that, hopefully it'll start driving more people to your actual website. Display marketing is great for brand awareness, not necessarily for driving sales. Then display adverts, the tips for success is understand your customers, understand your customers, understand your customers. If I could say it a million times, we need to understand who they are. What do they want to look at? What are they interested in? What's going to captivate them? And this can only be done by Google Analytics, social insights, and of course, speaking to your customers. Next up, re-enhance with remarketing. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but remarketing is an advertising strategy that targets people who have already visited your site, used your application, watched your videos, or purchased your products. It's very likely if they've already experienced your content that they might come back. Next one is test and optimize. There are going to be lots of different websites that you can put your advertisement on, and there could be lots of different websites that you could put a different format. It could be on the top, it could be down the side, it could be text, it could be image, it could be video. It's going to take a bit of time for you to optimize that to get the best out of that. Next up, how much time do we have? We're still good on time. We're going to jump next into getting started with social media marketing. Now, again, for those who are just thinking, wow, Daryl, this is a lot of information. You are not wrong. It is a lot of information, but remember, we're giving you short introductions on which channels will be best for you. The best part is at the end of the session, we're going to run through a digital marketing plan. Hopefully, you'll be able to follow along and find out which one of these is going to be more applicable to you. Because by no means am I saying you need to use all 6 marketing channels, because if you're a one-man show, good luck to you. So remember, we've got to find the ones that are going to be best for you. So far, we've covered search engine optimization. We've covered search engine marketing. And then we've covered display marketing. Now we're going to jump into social media marketing. That is somewhat of a new type of marketing. There's lots of people spending time on social media. So it'll be a great place to start putting your business out there. So how can social media help grow your business? Number 1, generate sales. With a bold statistic with up to 85% of the UK population on some social media platform, it would be a great place to start connecting with your customers. Reach new customers, get new business opportunities, ability to highly target demographics through those insights, and build relationships. The second one is adding value to your brand. That's what social media does. It adds a different perspective. Instead of just being a website, this is my business, this is my products, buy me. Social media is more like, hey, this is my business. This is more about our team. This is more about how our business came to fruition, telling people a story, getting people involved in your brand and your passion for whatever you do. Then improve your marketing overall. Again, many of us on social media, how does it improve? Well, it helps you get noticed on search. Now, I'm not sure if you've ever noticed this before, but sometimes when you search a person or you search a business, there's a very, very high chance that that social media link will be shown within the first page of Google search results, which will allow you to hopefully be more visible on Google. So a lot of good benefits when it comes to social media. Now, there is a key difference. There is an organic social media and paid social media. Very similar to search engine optimization and search engine marketing. But when we're thinking about social media, a lot of us are actively posting, maybe to our friends, to our family, and it doesn't cost us anything. We can just freely post as much as we like, and hopefully you're all doing so. However, your reach will only reach your followers and potentially their followers of their friends. So the reach isn't that large. So organically growing is a great way to start. However, maybe you're a business who has the budget, or maybe would just like to get your business out there as soon as possible. You may want to think about paid social media, where you can pay for views, actions, or clicks. And anybody, when I say anybody, people that you don't even know could come across your content. Depending on what your objectives are in terms of your digital marketing strategy, is if you want to grow organically and you want to get more organic growth, of course, organic social media is going to be the right to go. However, if your digital marketing strategy is that you really want to get your brand out there, you have a budget and you want to put yourself out there, you may want to think about paid social media. Next up is how to get started. Well, number one, something that I mentioned earlier, I said, understand your customers, understand your customers. When it comes to social media, it's the same thing. We need to identify who is your target audience. Is it the demographics? What is their location? What is their profession? What are they interested in? What kind of behavior do they have? Now, you may think to yourself, well, Daryl, how am I supposed to know all of this? Well, the beauty of this is that social media has insights. We'll tell you more about what your customers are doing. Then next step, we want to choose the right social media channels. Now, I've been very, very fortunate to help many charities and organizations through the pandemic to help get themselves out there. What I wouldn't advise is that you choose every single social media platform out there, open an account and try niddly diddly and try on every single account, because that's going to be very ill-spent time because you haven't really put a lot of effort into that particular platform, because every single platform will require a different strategy. So once you've established who your target audience is, you will most likely find out what is the most popular social media platform that people are using. Once you've identified that, you then want to start posting regular content. And the first question that I always get is, Daryl, how often should I post? Unfortunately, I won't be able to give you a definitive answer because it comes down to multiple factors. What sector are you in? And what sector you're in, what do you sell? When do you sell it? How much time do you have? What are your resources? How big is your team? The best piece of advice I can give to anybody in terms of posting is do a competitive analysis. What's stopping you from going to look at all your competitors and finding out when do they post? How regularly did they post? Maybe you want to match them, or maybe you want to post more than them to get more exposure in that particular area or that particular sector. Okay, next up, we've got social media marketing tips for success. Set yourself a goal. If I spoke about goals, I could speak about goals for days. But if you're looking to use LinkedIn, why are you using LinkedIn? If you're looking to use Instagram, why are you using Instagram? If you're looking to use Twitter, why are you looking to use Twitter? You're looking for a PR tool, you're looking to get exposure. What are you looking to do? Understand your audience and consistently, regularly update your social media platforms. If you'd like to learn more about social media, again, click on the link in the description below. There's 2 great live webinars called Social Media Strategy and Writing for Social Media, which will be up and coming in the future. So keep your eyes peeled on the website. Next up is getting started with email marketing. Today, we are bombarded with the amount of choices that we have. To stay on the top of the mind of your customers, we can try email marketing. Email marketing is a great addition to other marketing channels. Reason being, it builds up loyalty. But again, let's take a few steps back, Daryl. Take a big breath in. Email marketing. What is email marketing? Well, unlike one-to-one messaging, email marketing entails sending one message to dozens, thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands, depending on how many people you have on your contact list. Before I jump into email marketing, it is completely permission-based. We need to get the permission from our customers in order to send our emails to them. So how do we get started? Start with a simple platform, something called MailChimp. Pretty sure Tessa will pop the link into the chat. MailChimp is a great starting point for beginners when it comes to email marketing and creating those campaigns. If you're looking for something a little bit more advanced, you want to jump into Active Campaign, SendGrid, or Drip. All of those are a little bit more advanced, but I'd highly recommend you start with MailChimp. Next up, build a list of relevant contacts. Make sure you have their permission. Use content to generate new contacts, and then, of course, create relevant and useful content. When I say relevant content, it's all about understanding your customers and sending emails to people that want to know about this information. If you've got 100 people on your list, how do you now segment and understand who is in that list? How many are male? How many are female? How many like these shoes? How many like that shoe, for example? So a couple of tips for success would segment the group for a list of relevant content. Get simple and send at least to 2 to 3 other devices and see how it is shown on an iPad, a Google Pixel, a desktop, or an iPad. I think I said iPad twice. Measure the open and click-through rate by optimizing these campaigns. And a lot of this can be done through MailChimp, which is the tool that I mentioned earlier. Next up, we've got 15 minutes to go. So we're going to jump into get starting with content marketing, and we're going to jump into the different forms. This is by far my best way of content marketing. That's my personal preference. The essence behind content is that marketing strategy is the belief that if the brand can continuously deliver ongoing valuable information, our customers will reward us with their loyalty. So the different forms would be videos, blogs, case studies, or guides. For example, I have learned I learned before, when I had an old iPhone, it was a very iPhone 6, I think, I broke the screen. However, I didn't want to go pay to get it fixed. So what I did is I used people's content online to watch a how-to video. Someone taught me how to change the screen on my device. Now that person gained a follower, but that is valuable information that helped me. And that could potentially draw the gap between you and your customers by adding value to your customer's life. So how do we get started? Well, build customer example profiles. Hopefully what you've started to notice through every single channel, we've spoken about understanding your customers, identify who your target audience is, build up a customer profile. So understand and use a persona, for example. And if you're not familiar with persona, jump into Google, type in persona, but basically it's a fictitious idea of who your target audience is. Keeping an understanding of what the customer journey is. What are the steps that your customer needs to take in order to find you? So maybe, I don't know, they find your video. Once they find your video, what do they click onto? Your website, the call to action. Once they get to the website, or they go to a product page. Once they go to a product page, they add it to the cart. What is that process? How do we understand that process? Because if we can now understand the process of the customer journey, we can create content for our customers to allow them to navigate through that process in a more seamless way by facilitating that customer journey, contributing the content, and including a call to action all the time. Call to action, call to action, call to action. Next up is content tips for success is use content to facilitate the sales process, use storytelling to help the audience to understand more about what your business is, what you're looking to do, and everybody loves a good story. Next up, distribute the content to maximize the reach, measure and performance and optimize. Remember, some content's not going to do that great. Some content's going to do really great. But look back at the social insights to understand more about how they're performing. Excuse me. So let's jump into a couple of questions before we jump into the marketing plan. So Prince, trends and analytics always change. How can we sustain? Well, the beauty of that is trends is designed to always be always change, but we can identify certain keywords that's going to allow us to seasonally think about what keywords better in a certain situation. In terms of analytics, this is a conversation, Prince, I would highly recommend if you are in the UK, book into a one-to-one mentoring session because Google Trends analytics are always changing, but it's understanding those changes through maybe a consistent basis, yearly or quarterly, to understand your activities. We'll go on from Chris. When budget is limited, what should small startups prioritize? My personal opinion would be organic growth. That would be focusing on the free tools that are available to you. Google Search Console to understand more about what your website's doing. And then, of course, using Google Business Profile, which will allow you to have more visibility on Google, and that's not going to cost you anything. Once you start to learn more about your keywords through Google Search Console, you can start thinking about advertising in the future. Next up, Nada is for startup in digital marketing. Is making a website important? Not necessarily, Nada. I know some companies who don't have any websites. All they have is a social media, a Google Business Profile, and maybe a PDF version of what their business has to entail. And just to keep your mind at ease, if you are not getting a website because it costs too much money, I highly recommend you jump into something called Google Sites. Jump into Google right now, type in Google Sites, and you'll be able to create a website for free. And it should take you a matter of days to get that set up, and it's not going to cost you anything. Next up, John, what's the difference between a strategy and a plan? Essentially, when you think of a strategy, it is a long, you can go ahead and Google it, but essentially a strategy is going to be a lot of moving parts on how are you going to strategically think of objectives, which I'll be running through very shortly. And a plan is something that's going to plan for that strategy. So what is the plan that we're going to create to make a strategy come to fruition? Next up, we've got Crystal. How do you use keywords? Can you give me a practical example, please? Well, 100%. Let's say, for example, I sell coffee cups. I sell coffee cups that have Despicable Me characters on it, for example. So I got coffee cups with Despicable Me. What I'd want to do in terms of keywords is think about what are the names of the Despicable Me people. Maybe I want to use the words despicable. Maybe I want to use the word mugs. Maybe I want to use the word coffee cup. Maybe I want to use the word anything that's going to be relating to that. So essentially, all we're looking to do is create keywords that are specific to your particular product or your service. Google Trends is going to help you with that, and the Google Keyword Planner is going to suggest some keywords for you as well. Great question. Next one, we've got one from Chris. How do you make a strategic decisions to allocate the correct budget to each paid channel? Chris, that's a great question. This will come down to you in terms of understanding where's your current activity. Depending on the channel that you use, ideally, you're going to be using an organic growth at first. But while you start to, if you're going to put in a small budget at a time, is put out some adverts. We want to track and see how did that work? Which keywords worked the best? Which ones didn't work very well? Which are those words that can we remove? And then once you've understood that, oh, we got lots and lots of traction from this particular keyword, let's make sure we use this more and use the other one less. It gets a little bit more complicated than that, but hopefully that helps you ever so slightly. Chris, please go ahead and book into a one-to-one mentoring session. We can help you within that hour. So jumping into the last 10 minutes of building a digital marketing plan. Everybody get a pen and pad ready to go, or a separate device, because we're going to go through this within the next 10 minutes. And I want you to think about your own business. I wanted you to think about your own plan. But we're going to use this example with a 6-step process. Number one, we're going to think about your business goals and objectives. Number two, what is your budget and your resource? Number three, very, very important, who is your audience? How do we establish who that audience is? Without that, we cannot move to step number 4, which is deciding what channels. Then we want to plan your activity. Then we want to measure for success. Now, don't worry if this is too fast. The recording will be available for you to use. Just click on the same link that you used to join today's session. You'll be able to rewind and fast forward and then take notes as you go along. So don't worry about that. We will slowly but surely move on with number 1, which is business goals and objectives. Let's use the example. Hi, I'm Max. I'm a hairdresser, and my business goals are to get more customers through my door, new and past, and make people in my area know my business exists. Maybe you've got a similar objective. If you like to steal it, let's steal it and let's use that. But first, we establish that goal, and then we need now to turn that goal into an online objective. So an example of an online objective would be to increase traffic to the website, or increase social media page likes and follows, or increase online reach and awareness. Establishing what the goal is so important, because if you don't, I use the term, you're just going to niddly diddly. Oh, let me try that. Let me try that. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, that didn't work. And if you've got ADHD like me, you're going to be like, oh, I don't even know where to go. So establish what that goal is, and then we turn that goal into an online objective. A couple of examples of how we turn a business goal into an online objective is maybe you want to make more people know, make more people aware that you exist. I think many of us want to do that. Your online objective would be to increase the online reach and awareness. Let's jump down to the third one. Maybe you want to get found by more people. Your online objective would be to increase the social media page likes or followers from my customers. Last one, maybe you want to get returning customers. You want to increase the traffic to the website. Establishing that business goal, turning it into an online objective. Hopefully you can think of something similar. Start writing that down. Next up, we've got 3, which is budget and the resource. In this particular instance, I'm just going to assume Max doesn't have any money or limited amount of money. I don't have much of a website yet, and it's too much for me as an investment right now. Coming back to who someone asked me earlier in terms of a website, Nanda, you mentioned maybe this one's for you. Max doesn't have doesn't have a website. Well, let's first jump into the audience. This is by far the most important part of the plan. If we understand more about our customers, the rest will follow. So, Max, I'm targeting females in my local area. Most valuable customers are females around 30 years old, and they normally have children and work part-time, most of them on Facebook. Because of this, I can now build up the rest of the plan. Now, for all of you watching, the best way to do this is to speak to your customers, look at your social insights, look at your Google Analytics, or maybe you want to create a form to send out to your customers to get them to fill it out to get those types of answers. Then we think about the marketing channels. Remember, we spoke about 6 main marketing channels. Not all of them may be applicable, but maybe your online objective is to increase online reach and awareness. You want to think about display marketing. Remember, billboard for your business, social media. Lots of people are on social media. It'd be a great place to get more people to understand your business. And then content marketing, one of my favorite ways to market. Then increasing website sales and increasing traffic to the website will have the same marketing channels. Search engine optimization to get you at the very first page. Search engine optimization to start increasing that organic listing from the 100th page to the first page, and then email marketing to support that loyalty that you have with your customers, which comes down to the last one, increasing customer loyalty. Focus on the areas where you can start connecting with your customers. You want to have social media. You want to have email marketing and content marketing, which is going to strengthen the relationship with you and your customer. Next up, we've got plan your activity. Once we've got that set up, my online objectives are to reach more people in my local area and get more returning customers. I don't have a website as of yet, and too much of an investment right now. How could I use digital to help me? Hopefully, this will answer a couple of your questions. Number one is list your business on Google Business Profile. It's free to use. Jump into Google, type in Google Business Profile, and you can create your own listing. Then, if you don't want to do that, you can either create a free website inside Google Business Profile, or you can use Google Sites to create a free website that will only take you a bit of time to get set up. Remember, free one-to-one mentoring sessions to help and guide you through that process. Next up, set up a Facebook page. Why? Because Max identified majority of his customers are on Facebook, and all we want to do is collect reviews, post pictures, and start having that back and forth two-way conversation with the customers. Next up, we've got use Facebook advertising to target people in my local area to offer and attract new customers. Now, they don't have too much money, but now that they know where their customers are, they can spend their money on Facebook because Max knows that's where his customers are. And if that's where his customers are, why not think about expanding that customer base in a place where the customers already are? Last but not least, we're going to jump into measure and use the SMART method. Does anybody know what SMART stands for? S-M-A-R-T. Pop it into the chat. Myself, Tessa, and the team would love to know, what does S-M-A-R-T stand for? And if you don't know, you're probably going to Google and searching it, and that's okay. But pop it into the chat. We'd love to know what SMART stands for. So how would you know if you've succeeded? Well, we'll compare the SMART objective from a broad objective. Maybe, hey, Daryl, you know what? I want to increase my online sales. Well, let's make that a little bit more specific. To increase online sales by 20% within 3 months. Now, if I spoke about goals, I could speak about it for days. If your goal is to increase brand awareness, I'll always ask, where do you want to increase that brand awareness? What platform? And by how much do you want to increase that by? So increase your online brand awareness with Facebook by growing your audience with new people by 40%. It is so much more specific. Love that. We're getting the first few in there. First one is specific. Second one is measurable. Let's see if we can get the rest of those in there. Jessica, achievable, relevant, and timely or time-bound. Beautiful. SMART goals are great for digital marketing, but they're great for any goal setting. So keep that in mind if you didn't know what a SMART goal is. Next up, we think about how we create this plan. So we're going to beautifully lay it out for you. I don't have a website. I can't afford one right now. My online objectives are to reach more people in my local area to get more returning customers. Let's lay out this plan. The plan is going to be, well, the business goal, we've already spoken about that. We've identified what the audience is, female, 39 to 45, local area, and past customers. Then by understanding the audience, we now know which channels to use, which is going to be local SEO, because we want to improve the organic listing because we don't have money to spend on search engine marketing. And we want to use Facebook, which is free, but we may think about advertising on Facebook because we know our customers are there. So the activity is to build a website and boost our visibility on Google, use Facebook advertising to target people in my local area. And then the online objective would be turned into smart objectives by increasing the Facebook page likes with new people by 50% within the next month. So hopefully you're being more specific. Loving those all from Nina and Benjamin, all popping it in there. Francesca, did I say Jessica? My apologies. My apologies, Francesca. It is Francesca, not Jessica. Sorry about that. Hopefully I clarified that for you. Next up, in terms of the steps, we've got the beautiful steps being laid out. Number one, business goals and objectives. Number two, budget and resources, the audience. That is very important. Decide what channels based on what you know about your audience. Plan the activity based on what you know about the audience, and then measure for success, turning those broad objectives into smart objectives as we move along. So that's pretty much me. I don't see if there's any questions as of yet. I'm pretty sure Tessa has been an amazing moderator. So big thank you to Tessa for moderating today's chat and answering all the questions as we go along. What would be your next steps? Well, make sure you click on the link in the description below. And of course, go ahead and visit the Wenta website, which will give you more resources to more training in the future. But of course, if you are struggling and you are in the UK, please book into those one-to-one mentoring sessions. We would love to hear from you. But without further ado, I'd like to say a big thank you to all of you for really being engaged in today's session. It makes the session so wonderful to deliver for myself and Tessa. So thanks everybody for getting involved. Please shout about this on social media. If you love the session, first and foremost, please give us your feedback. Go to goo.gle/digital garage feedback. Myself and Tessa and the team would love to know, what did you think about today's session? Did it help you in any certain way? Or maybe you'd like to think about a couple of improvements that you think would maybe be better in the future. Pop it into that feedback form. And if you decide to shout about it on social media, please make sure you hashtag Digital Garage. But without further ado, make sure you look after yourself, make sure you look after each other. And I would say bye for now.